Place to Dump Guinea Pigs by David Hartley. Heard his heartbeat before I saw him. And yeah, I was excited. But I was also like, hey up, a live one. What fun and games we got now? Immortal? Hero? Or just someone badly lost? It had been a while. The longest while. I figured them all dead. That I'd long taken my last boatload over. But why would I still be here? So, maybe they're all immortal now. One of Zeus's millennial whims. Some bizarre pact between him and a wronged lover or something. But I'd have heard something. Hades would have been over in a flash to sort that shit out. Maybe there's another way over my river, or under it, or around it that I don't know about. Or perhaps they've all buggered off to Elysium. I even wondered if there was anyone left over to the other side. Tempted more than once to row over and have a look, but nah. If I was supposed to know, I'd know. And I've been stuck here thousands of years, what's a few more? I ain't interested in nowhere else to live. Had some hangers on to keep me company. The chancers who didn't have enough coin first time around and were paying their 100-year penance. Some of them were all right as well. We had a laugh. But I punted them over one by one when their long-awaited time came, until there was no one left but little old me. And then this guy comes, this bloke, with his heartbeat and his bag full of guinea pigs. So I says, greetings. And he says, how much is it for halfway across? And I says, I don't go halfway. I go alt way. There is no halfway. And he says, well, I don't want to go alt way, I want to go halfway. And part of me wanted to keep arguing toss with him, because I definitely don't go halfway. But he was the first bloke I'd seen for a couple of 1,000 years, and I hadn't seen any coin for that long either. So I says, how much you got? And he checked and said, 28 quid. He puts the stuff in my hand. I don't know quid. I figure it's some sort of new currency that must have developed. Bits of coloured paper and a few weird looking coins. I said, I only do silver obols. And he pointed at some of the coins and said, that's silver, and these ones here are gold, and that bit of paper is worth 20 of them golds, and isn't that enough? I figured I maybe should just take what I can get these days. So I says, right, all right, I'll fetch me boat. And he says, cheers mate, appreciate it. And I says, you sure you only want to go halfway? And he says, aye, halfway. And I says, what's in bag? And he says, never mind about that. So I get my smallest boat and we head out. And I must admit, it feels really good to be back on river again. He says, just take me to the deepest bit. And I looks at him, and I can see he's got hold of some little rocks. And he's opened bag and he's putting the rocks in there. And every time one of them rocks hits whatever's inside, I can hear him whining louder, squealing, making this weird little rumbling noise. I'm not happy about this. I've not got a good feeling. I mean, doesn't he know the etiquette? Doesn't he know that you've got to treat the ferryman with the utmost respect? That no one, not the dead, not the living, not the trumped up heroes, not even gods can disrespect the ferryman. Without me, no one gets nowhere. Without me, everyone stays the wrong side of the Styx. So I stop rowing, sit down. He says, is this it? And I say, no, this isn't it. I ain't going any further till you tell me what's in that bag. And he says, you don't need to know. And I says, yes, I do need to know. Unless you want to spend the rest of your every breath here, in this boat, on this river, with me, I do need to know. And he says, well, I'll just row myself. And I says, the Styx won't let you do that. Which is bullshit. But it sounds good. And he stops for a bit. His face goes all red and his gloomy eyes bulge. Then he huffs and opens the bag wider. He says, they're guinea pigs. They're what? Guinea pigs. Animals. Little rodents. I look inside, and there they are. 3 fat, furry blobs, all pressed up against each other. One's white, one's brown, and t'other, smaller one, is a patchwork of both colours. The white fella lifts its head, and I can see a tiny nose sniffing the air, 2 black eyes, and funny flappy ears on side of head. They almost don't look real, like someone's drawn them on parchment and they've somehow come to life. So I says, well, what are you doing with them? Getting rid. Why? They're a pain in the arse, that's why. I sit back down. I'm hit with this horrible wave of sadness, like the Styx itself has just reached up and swallowed me. I ain't never seen a guinea pig before. I ain't never heard of them before. But it's clear that this is not right at all. This bloke is planning on dumping them poor buggers overboard, and they won't have a fighting chance in all creation. I can't imagine those tiny things ever doing any hurt to no one. Least of all this man with his fat neck. Can't do that, I says. I'll do what I want, he says. Look, why can't you just give them to someone else? Tried that. No one wants bloody things. Fact is, right, and he starts counting this off on his fingers. They're too bloody expensive, too bloody dirty, too demanding, and they keep getting sick all the time and multiplying. They've got to go. Nothing else for it. Should never have bothered in first place. Well, why'd you get them in first place? For kids. But they're not interested anymore. And youngest is allergic. Look, I don't want to have to do this, but I've got no other choice. I'm gripping the side of the boat now, proper hard, because of course he had some other choices. Of course he could have done more. Of course he didn't have to come to this. I don't want to be any part of it. So I says so. I tells him, I'm not going to let you do that. And he stands up. Yes, you are, mate, he says. I've paid you good money for this, for you to do your job. And that's all you're here for rowing. So don't give me no grief. Pick up your fucking oars, take me to the deepest bit, then take me back. That's it, your job. I'll let you do what you do, and you let me do what I've got to do, all right? That sadness hits me again. The fight goes out of me. He's right. He's paid for my services, and I'm bound by ancient laws to do. So I pick up the oars, let him sit back down, and I set to rowing again. Fact is, I don't know where the deepest bit of the Styx is. I don't know nothing about anything under the surface. In all my years, I've never had cause to go down, and no one's ever come here to measure it. So I takes the boat around in a couple of circles and stop when I feel like stopping. It's dark out here. He can't tell. All right, I says. And he says nothing. He pulls the string tight as it'll go and lowers the bank to the surface. Bob's there for a second. And I listen hard at those tiny heartbeats as they thump faster, like they know something bad is coming. And then Styx, stakes them down, and the bank disappears. The fella's long since stopped watching. He looks shrunken now. Like by losing the bag he's somehow lost half himself too. This ain't making him happy. I doubt there's anything actually makes him happy. Right then, he says. It's my turn to say nothing. Just do what I'm here to do. I row. He steps ashore and takes one deep breath in and out. He turns to me. Listen, he says. Thanks for that, all right? Sorry you had to get a bit, you know. He puts his hand out and I copy him. He takes my hand in his and squeezes it a little too hard. Which way's out? I point him up the slope and he strides away. I sit for a while, my toes in the water, thinking it all through. Thing is, there's something he don't know about the Styx. Something him and his lot must have forgotten. Styx ain't like a normal river. Its waters are just as dead as everything else around here, but it's still a living thing too, in a way. It's the soul of a river, halfway between life and death. A bit like myself. So you can chuck stuff in it, weight it down, but that don't mean it makes them things dead. The Styx will just hold them, freeze them in time. So likely those guinea pigs are still alive, still wriggling over each other, pushing at them rocks. And I'm having strange thoughts. I'm thinking I could just go on in there and fetch him out. Nothing's stopping me, no rules about it. No one around to see. So that's exactly what I do. I get back in the boat, row to the spot and lower myself in. I can feel the Styx asking me a million questions, wondering what in the ages is happening, but I ignore her as only I know how. I put my head under. It's as clear as day beneath the surface for my eyes, and it don't take long to find the bag. And I'm right. The fellas are still wriggling, heart's still going, and for the first time in a long time I feel important. I feel proper important. Not just needed, not essential, but significant. I push myself down to the bag and take it in both hands. Back on my shore, the guinea pigs are trotting around in a little space I've made, shaking themselves dry, sniffing the air with their funny snouts, chattering away to each other in their ancient language. I'm mesmerised, besotted, big stupid grin on my face. Everything they do is a tiny delight, wiping their faces with their front feet, squaring up to each other, their shrill little calls, wee, wee, wee. The tiniest little one keeps running about doing all these daft little skips. I says to them, "Hey guinea pigs, if you want to get across, you have to pay me 1 silver obol each." They say. So I'm like, well, you'll have to stay here with me then, for 100 years. But they seem fine about that. So I'll let them stay. Maybe even longer if I can swing it. Us abandoned ones are best sticking together. And while I'm sitting there, thinking of some good names for them, my thoughts drift back to the man. I wonder if he's realised yet that I took him to the shore. I wonder if he's fallen foul of Cerberus. Perhaps he's made it all the way to the throne of Hades. The fella's heart still beats, of course, so he'll not be allowed to stay down here forever, but Hades can have him for a while. And when our mighty lord gets bored, he'll find somewhere else for the bloke. Somewhere quiet, Somewhere cold. Somewhere dark. I'll call them Hera, Athena and Hebe. I'm sure the ladies won't mind.